All right, welcome back. You've definitely come to the right place if you want to cut through the noise and get straight to some real
That
insights.
is the goal.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into something incredibly powerful, really timeless wisdom, Proverbs chapter 5.
A chapter that honestly speaks so clearly, even today. It's quite urgent, actually.
It really is. So, our mission here is to unpack this ancient text. We want to understand its warnings, yes, but also its, well, surprising promises.
And pull out those key nuggets, those insights that can genuinely protect your future, maybe enrich your life right now.
Exactly. We're drawing heavily from excerpts from Proverbs 5, a father's warning against adultery. It's a great source that breaks it down verse by verse, gives meaning, and importantly, practical application.
Yeah, it really grounds the text. So where do we start?
Well, we start where the father starts, right?
Okay.
Verses 1 and 2, the call to listen.
Ah, yes. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. It's like this direct plea.
Turn your ear to my words of insight, that you may maintain discretion and your lips may preserve knowledge.
It's fascinating because wisdom here isn't just, knowing stuff.
It's presented as an active guard, something that protects your future.
Right, shaping how you think, how you speak, and even like how you choose your relationships,
Yeah.
which is critical.
And the implication is clear. If you don't value this wisdom early on, you're basically setting yourself up for traps later. It's preventative.
It's like building defenses before the attack even comes.
Precisely. It's about installing this filter, this firewall, really, for your mind and your interactions.
Okay, so it sets up wisdom as protection. Protection from what specifically?
Well, the text immediately pivots. Verses 3 to 6 lay out the trap, the seductive trap.
Yeah, this is where it gets really vivid, doesn't it?
It does. For the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. That's the allure.
That's pretty good initially. Smooth, flattering. Exactly. But then comes a but. But in the end, she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword.
Oof, that's a sharp contrast. Sweetness turning into bitterness, something that cuts deep.
And it leads to ruin, the text says. To the grave, even. What's really chilling, I think, is verse 6.
It says.
She gives no thought to the way of life. Her paths wander aimlessly, but she does not know it.
Wow. So the danger isn't just that she's deceptive, but she's lost herself. Aimless.
Kind of. It highlights that temptation often looks way better than it is.
Yeah.
It mimics real desires, promises fulfillment.
But it's empty, or worse, destructive.
Right. Whether it's lust, addiction, whatever the deception is, it starts sweet, but the end is painful.
It really makes you ask, doesn't it? How often do we mistake that initial sweetness for something real, something lasting?
A crucial question. And the text doesn't just stop at the description of the trap. It details the cost.
Okay, so that's verses 7 to 10, the cost of compromise.
Yeah, and the warning is blunt. Keep to a path far from her. Do not go near the door of her house.
So physical distance is key. Don't even flirt with the idea.
Exactly. And it's not just a spiritual cost it warns about. It gets very practical.
How so?
It says adultery drains your honor, your dignity, your wealth, and your reputation. These are tangible losses.
Real-world consequences. There's that line, lest strangers feast on your wealth and your toil enrich the house of another. That's brutal.
It is. It underscores how everything you've worked for, everything you've built can just disappear. Or worse, end up benefiting someone else because of your choices.
So sin isn't isolated. It affects your legacy, everything connected to you.
Absolutely. It's a powerful call to guard, well, everything, your relationships, your integrity, your name. Don't play near the edge.
Because the fall is devastating. And that leads right into the next part, which feels, I don't know, incredibly sad.
Verses 11 to 14. The voice of regret. Yeah, that's poignant.
It really is. At the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are spent. It paints this picture of just utter exhaustion and pain.
Physical and emotional. And then the self-recrimination kicks in.
You will say how I hated discipline, how my heart spurned correction.
It's the sound of someone realizing, far too late, that they rejected the very guidance that could have saved them.
Facing disgrace, it says, even in the assembly, like publicly shamed.
It's a harsh image, but it drives home the point that regret is a terrible teacher. It arrives after the damage is done.
Yeah, it really forces you to think, what discipline or correction might I be ignoring now that I'll regret later?
That's the application, isn't it? Embrace the discipline now, however uncomfortable, rather than face that kind of gut-wrenching regret down the road.
Okay, so we've seen the warning, the trap, the cost, the regret. It's pretty heavy stuff.
It is. But Proverbs doesn't just leave us there. It also points towards the alternative, towards joy.
Right. Verses 15 to 19. The joy of marital faithfulness. This part is
It
beautiful.
really shifts the tone. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well.
That imagery. Finding satisfaction in life within your own committed relationship.
Exactly. It's about finding pleasure and passion within the covenant of marriage, not outside it.
May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. It's very positive, very affirming.
And then it gets even more expressive. She is a loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love.
Wow, intoxicated with her love. That directly pushes back against the idea that, monogamy or commitment is boring.
Totally. The text argues the opposite. Real joy, deep satisfaction, blessing, these things flow from faithfulness, from commitment, not from chasing fleeting temptations.
It frames commitment not as a restriction, but as the source of true delight. That's powerful.
That is a really important counter-narrative.
So after painting this picture of marital joy, the text circles back a bit, doesn't it, with a sharp question.
Verses 20 and 21, God sees all.
Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? It's almost like, after everything I've told you, why would you?
And the answer provided is profound. For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths.
So the reason is accountability. You can't hide. God sees everything.
Yeah, but the emphasis feels less like Big Brother is watching, and more like God's awareness is meant to guide and protect. He sees the paths, the potential pitfalls.
But if we ignore that guidance, that awareness,
Then we walk right into the traps he's warning us about. It raises that question for us.
the question is that.
How does living with this constant awareness that nothing is truly hidden, good or bad, actually change our daily choices?
That's a deep one. Knowing you're seen, not just in sin, but also in quiet faithfulness. How does that shape behavior?
Right. It reframes accountability.
And then we get to the final verses, 22 and 23, the final warning.
Kind of summing it all up, distilling the consequences.
The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them. The cords of their sins hold them fast. It sounds like sin creates its own prison.
Exactly. It's not necessarily about external punishment here. It's about the natural consequence. Sin itself enslaves. The choices become the chains.
And the reason? For lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly.
That phrase, lack of discipline, is key. It connects back to the beginning, the rejection of wisdom and correction.
And die here. Maybe not always literally, physically.
Probably not always, no. But it can mean the death of a marriage, the death of your purpose, your reputation, your future. It's a kind of spiritual or relational death caused by folly.
So discipline isn't punishment.
It's a lifeline. That's how the text seems to frame it. It's what saves you from being led astray by your own foolishness.
Wow. Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway for someone listening today?
Well, this whole deep dive into Proverbs 5 feels like this incredibly passionate, urgent warning, doesn't it? Like a father pleading across time.
Yeah, definitely. And it hammers home that temptation is tricky, looks good, tastes sweet, but the end is deadly.
And that wisdom isn't just head knowledge. It's active protection. God gives it to guard our hearts, our homes.
It also really elevates marriage, doesn't it? As something sacred, joyful, worth protecting and delighting in.
Absolutely. And fundamentally, I think it teaches that choices have consequences. Sin has a cost. And embracing discipline, God's guidance, is the way to avoid devastating regret.
Okay, so to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Yeah, here's a provocative thought. We just talked about how a lack of discipline can lead to such deep regret, even the death of purpose or relationship.
Right, that final warning.
So the question is, what small, maybe seemingly insignificant, but consistent act of wisdom or discipline could you start today? Something that could become a lifeline.
Leading not to those future groans of regret.
Exactly. But leading instead to a deep, lasting satisfaction. The kind of satisfaction that completely outweighs any fleeting, deceptive sweetness temptation might offer. What's that one small step for you?